Valparaiso University football is underwritten by the following. Valparaiso Orthopedic Clinic for treatment of like you.
Hello everybody and welcome to Valparaiso University football. Along with head coach Tom Horne, this is Todd Eichow. Today we take a look back at Saturday's very disappointing performance against the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. We'll welcome in a standout linebacker, a guy who played exceptionally well on Saturday, Tim Riesen. And we'll preview Saturday's upcoming ball game against Kalamazoo College. First, though, we go to the head coach, Tom Horne. Obviously disappointed with what took place on Saturday, Coach.
We gave up 6 turnovers, which accumulated 33 points for them, and another block punt for 7 more. So you can't spot a team like that, 40 points, and expect to be in the ball game. And the snowball started rolling, and it didn't stop until the end of the game.
Usually special teams have been a strong suit for the Crusaders, but it was a disastrous special teams day, and it wasn't only one. It wasn't only the punt return team. It wasn't only the kickoff team. Every area the special teams really struggled.
Yeah, we had some pretty good returns set up on them. The first one we had a real big seam there, and we missed one block, and it would probably have been a touchdown for Ozzie on a kickoff return. We know how good he runs those back, and they blocked the punt on us, and then we didn't catch another punt. Fortunately, we got it off. Which we'll see on the tape here later on. But yeah, special teams and offense and defense, we just weren't clicking on all cylinders.
And their kicker really controlled the game. Great kickoffs. They covered the kicks. He hit a couple long field goals. Their kicker was one of the more dominant players on the field, I thought.
Yeah, he put it on the goal line or a couple yards deep every time and high. And I think as a kickoff team, as a unit, when you know that's going to happen, you really fly down the field and try and pin people down in a corner. Okay,
let's take a look at the highlights. You see, actually, the Crusaders on that opening drive put together, a couple first downs, moving the ball pretty well. Come out on a third down play here, and Ozzie for a first.
Yeah, we got 7 yards this play. It's called a hot route. It's for the tailback. His job is to get open. It's a choice route by him, and he gets open. We get 7 yards and a first down.
A couple plays later on a 2nd and 9. Nice little trap play here for the fullback, Nate Bobeck.
Yeah, their defensive line was misaligned, and we fortunately had the right play call on for that lineman.
Next play, you pick up your third first down of the drive. Things looking well when you hit Michael Tolbert here. Simple out route. We'll see him go in motion, and then he heads towards the near side. And this was a real nice pass by Nick. Nice touch pass.
Right. The strong safety comes up first, and then sees it's a pass and drops back and gets out of position. And Mike makes a nice catch on a well-thrown ball.
So 3 first downs before the Crusaders turn the ball over, and then they put together a nice drive. The quarterback, Runis, not spectacular, but he was effective.
Yes, the 2 things we came in the game saying we had to stop on defense was their outside zone play and their bootleg pass, and we weren't very successful at doing either on Saturday.
Fullback Schmidt with the catch for a pickup of 16. Here's a draw to D'Amato, and a nice play, one of many by Tim Riesen.
Yeah, Timmy had 15 tackles on Saturday, and it appeared like most of them were solos.
That was no game, but they would eventually move downfield, and from the VU 26 on a 2nd and 7, John D'Amato's just straight up the middle. Nothing fancy here, Coach.
Yes, we didn't do a good job taking on a double team in the defensive line, and the linemen could get off to our linebackers, and they ran through for an easy touchdown for them.
Their kicker, Matter, looked like a Division I kicker, I thought. Left footer, real strong leg. We can see them lining up. Looked like they were going to show us the swinging gate play, but they never did use it. And we'll see them shuffle over.
Yeah, basically in this situation, if you don't go and cover up the lineman, they'll snap the ball to that one back behind all the offensive linemen, and he'll run a sweep play in. If they cover too many people over there, then they'll run a play to the right here.
Had you seen that in the film?
Yes.
So obviously well prepared for it.
We always have 2, maybe 3 teams a year that do that.
And this, I guess, was sort of the way the day went. When they score 47 points, they're going to kick the ball off quite a bit, but Ozzie never got the returns going because the kicks were always angled, deep. Very well done. Nice catch here for a first down. A good pass from Browder to Heinrichs on 2nd and 6. Picked up 8, but as we move to the second quarter, after Valpo had to give the ball back on a punt, Runis goes up top. First play of the second quarter, nice little pump fake. Wooden, 33 yards in that play.
That's what they call in the football circles a wheel route, which the outside guy posts inside and the inside guy does an out and up, and the out and up was one that was open.
Good defense here. That was on 3rd and goal from the VU1. Play action, good pressure applied by John Harrington. But then on 4th down, Runis barely gets in, or does he?
I thought the referee called it pretty quick there, and our guys didn't think he was over, or the ball being over, but they ruled it a touchdown immediately.
So after the extra point, 14-0, and here we are again, Coach. You talked about, well, we got away with dropping behind big against St. Xavier, but couldn't afford to do it against Whitewater.
No, they're too good of a football team. When your offensive line averages 290 pounds and they run the ball as well and effective as they do and control the clock as well as they do, it's very difficult to come back on a team like that.
You said the snowball effect was in play, and it certainly was, because on the very next kickoff, the almost always reliable Ozzie Young will cough it up.
He coughed it up twice on Saturday. I mean, you and I both know he had one fumble all year last year, and he had 2 in this game, so that's very uncharacteristic for Ozzie.
1 of 6 Crusader turnovers on the day. When you lose the turnover ratio 6-0, you're never going to be in a ball game.
No, if you look at the St. Louis Rams, they're 12-0 in turnover ratio, and they're picked to be one of the last teams in the league this year, and because of their turnover ratio, they're 3-0.
Excellent play by Adam Solvinsky fighting through a block there. Then off play action, this is a perfect throw. Because the coverage is pretty good.
Coverage was pretty good there, and a good diving catch. They just made a perfect throw and a perfect catch.
Richard Newton on the receiving end to make it 20-0, and then Matter will step up and he'll drill the extra point. And now we're looking at the exact same point you were in last week, down 21 points early in the second quarter. Unfortunately, unfortunate that this week you couldn't do what you did last week, make a complete turnaround.
We come back and run a quarterback draw here for a good gain, and then the very next play after this, we run an option play for a first down. So we knew we could move the ball on them. We just kind of shot ourselves in the foot.
Unable really to get Ozzie going, though, from the outside. This option play does pick up 10, but that was it as far as getting Ozzie outside, where he can really be effective. Things just not going well, and they get worse. Block punt. Talk about special teams. Their special teams were awesome.
That guy came through on block, but it took us 2.4 seconds to get the punt off, and you usually need to be around 1.8, and if we're where we're supposed to be, you probably can get the punt off.
James Webb's block sets up this touchdown by Charles Warren, and that was a play they ran successful all day long.
Yeah, our linebackers, for the most part, other than Timmy, at times didn't get outside and contain that play. They were running inside of blocks and taking fakes and doing all kinds of things that they normally shouldn't be doing.
The extra point made it 28-0, and then on 3rd and long, Nick Browder's going to overthrow Michael Tolbert, and Bartholomew with the pick. He gets all the way down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, the longest drive of the day was 36 yards. It was after that punt we punted from our own 2-yard line.
28-0, looking for more before an excellent play by, guess who, Tim Riesen. Another sack, another solo tackle, I should say. Sack and a loss of 5. That's going to halt their drive, and here comes Matter. And look at this, 37 yards. And, Coach, I think he had plenty.
And, it was at the top of the uprights. That's probably good from 50, 55 yards. Very good kicker.
Crusaders would move the ball late first half out of the no huddle. Pass to Scott Heinrichs. They said still in bounds and kept the clock running. That kind of hurt you. See, stops the clock to move the chains, but after the ball was set, a lot of time got off the clock. Nice play on 2nd down here. The throw back to Ozzie. Nick disguised that well, I thought. And Ozzie able to get open, pick up a 24.
They were in shooting range of getting a score and having something positive happen before half, and then we throw an interception here in the end zone.
Trying to make something happen, Nick into double coverage, and it turns out to be a pretty easy pick. Dodds on the pick down the half. And I know at halftime, it couldn't have been real pleasant in the Crusader locker room.
No, it was pretty much of a down situation, I think. What can you say?
Any surprises that took place in the first half as far as what they did offensively?
No, we went into it on defense thinking we had to stop their outside zone play and their bootleg pass. Those are the 2 main things that we needed to worry about the most, and talk to the defense about it, and we just didn't get that job done.
Maybe most difficult then that you were looking at the plays they were running and you'd run against them in practice, so you were prepared for it, yet you couldn't stop them. How do you make adjustments then? Almost impossible.
Yeah, well, you need 11 players doing what they're supposed to do, and if that doesn't happen, then you have breakdowns, and we see what happens. They are able to run the ball effectively.
Okay, it didn't get any better in the second half. We'll take a look at those second half highlights when we come back after this timeout on Valparaiso University football.
Valparaiso University football is underwritten by the following. Signs on Time. Create signs in all sizes and materials. Special canvas banners, wood signs, plastic, metal, and magnetic. Indoors or outdoors, Signs on Time uses state-of-the-art materials including vinyl lettering. Signs on Time next to the patio in Maryville. 769-4488.
Mike's Sporting Goods, your team sports professional. Mike's has NFL and college team crews and jackets from Starter, Russell, and others. A great selection and Mike's great value. For your team sport needs, Mike's has it. Shoes from Nike, Reebok, Converse, plus uniforms, trophies, custom screen printing, school jackets, equipment, and more. Mike's Sporting Goods, Maryville, Crown Point, Hobart, and Michigan City.
Mancino's Pizza and Grinders, 706 and a half Lincoln Way in Valparaiso. Home of the hot sub sandwich, served on their very own bread made from scratch daily. Delivery available, 477-5610.
And by the financial support of viewers like you.
Coach, you make a quarterback change at halftime. Nick Browder's your man, but not getting it done. How hard of a decision was it?
Well, he just was having a bad game. If a guy's having a bad game, there's no sense leaving him in there and make things worse if things aren't going to improve. And just felt we needed to make a change. We probably want to throw the ball a little more. Paul Van Dam's forte is throwing the football, and did a good job here early on in the third quarter, as we'll see. So it was just a matter of pulling Nick out of that situation and going with another guy.
The goal at halftime, is it to win the football game? Is that realistic down 31-0? You always say, well, you feel like you can win any football game, but down 31-0 at half, is the goal still to win the football game or get back in it?
We got to get back in it first. Once you get back in it, then you see what happens, and if you get close near the end, then hopefully you can win it.
Okay, checking the highlights, we'll see that early in the second half, the Crusader defense was able to get you the ball back without any points off the board. John Harrington, the sack there, to stop them on third down.
Yeah, we played pretty well on defense in the third quarter. And if we could have done some things offensively, got a couple of scores, and given us a little more confidence, maybe some other things could have happened for us.
Second and long, and pass to Scott Heinrichs. Nice throw. That was Paul Van Dam, sophomore out of Rochester, Michigan, completing that to set up a 3rd and 10, and then nice throw over the middle to Ozzie. Kept it low where the ball could be received and not intercepted, and he picked up a first down.
And here's another throw to Scotty Heinrichs, who makes a nice catch here. He's pretty well covered there. It was a good throw. A good throw away from the defender by Paul Van Dam.
Van Dam's arm strength appears to be a strength, right?
Yes, Paul's an outstanding passer. He was rated the #1 quarterback 2 years in a row in high school at the Michigan camp.
Nice sliding catch that time by Scott Heinrichs. Picks up 13. And the first down, we see the ball snapped over the head of Mike Suarez. And one of the most athletic plays of the day. Comes by a backup punter, I guess.
It actually went through his hands, so we don't want to blame the snapper for that one.
But a great effort to get the punt off.
Absolutely. It's good when you have a soccer kicker back there that can run around and kick on the run. That's always helpful.
Tim Riesen with the sack. We're going to actually see 3 successive plays, and we'll actually see them later on in the program, too, when we welcome Tim in. First the sack, then the draw, and then we're going to see him on a sweep. 3 straight plays, different plays, but 3 excellent plays.
We're hoping Timmy's starting to come into his own on defense. This is only his second ball game at linebacker, and it appears like he's starting to get the hang of things.
But unfortunately, that play wasn't stopped enough. Zone blocking with the ability to kick outside. He seemed to get to the corner too much.
Yeah, their offensive line was huge and could run and get after people blocking-wise. They were very tough to deal with.
Crusaders get the ball back, and look at the big hit on Paul Van Dam. He actually took a beating in that second half, but performed well.
Yes, it's a blitzing situation. Our receivers weren't alternating their routes and adjusting to the man coverage, and he had a way too long to throw.
Here's that play we're talking about, this stretch play, and it's Warren getting to the outside for a first down. Pickup of 12. We go to the fourth quarter. Held them scoreless in the third, but to start the fourth, here's Matter, a 32-yarder, and you can see plenty to spare.
The guys are taking bets to see if there's people in the lift behind the field goal uprights are going to get hit.
34-0, Van Dam on the roll. Nice throw to Darren Rodriguez, who picks up a first down, pick up a 14 on that play. And then on fourth down, you run a quarterback draw.
And 4th and 6, and Paul gets 7 for us. And nice job of blocking by our people, and good job of running by Paul to get the first down.
moving down, hopefully to get you on the board, but McCulloch will end up with an intercept here.
Yeah, Paul, I think, learned something from this play here. Just throw the ball away. We've got a couple more downs to go, and got a little antsy there and tried to force something to happen, and they get an interception.
See another nice defensive play, and again, it's Tim Riesen.
But that's how the defense is supposed to work, as we're seeing right here, against their offense.
But they're bringing a backup quarterback, Oftenauer, and he hits Gutierrez on the near sidelines. Picks up another first down for them.
From Hartford High School in Wisconsin. We took a look at him out of high school. Pretty good throwing quarterback.
Patrikas will score. Actually, first touchdown in the second half, over the top from a yard out. A couple plays after the completed pass, and now it's 40-0. The extra point makes it 41-0. Actually, it took them a while before they score. We see a penalty here. And they line it up, and Matter will knock it through. And Coach at least gave you an opportunity, I guess, to play some more guys in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, probably the last quarter and a half we had a lot of backup people and give them a chance to play, and offense as well. Those guys practice real hard each week, and of course deserve the right to play.
Well, Ozzie nearly breaks this one, but this is the way the day went. He gets stripped and coughed up the football. 2 fumbles on kickoffs in one day. That's how bad a day it was.
This is their longest drive of the day, 40 yards.
It's Warren around the left end, and he'll take it in for his second score. They'll miss the extra point, believe it or not. Snap a little high, and the kick is actually left of the mark. 47-0, our final score.
We need to get that off the screen as soon as possible, Todd.
Let's go to the statistics. You can see the turnovers. 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles. They didn't throw any interceptions. They didn't fumble the ball at all. And then the rushing yards as well. So those turnovers and rushing yards, those 2 statistics go against you. It's going to be a long day.
And actually we fumbled 7 times and got 4 of them back, or it could have been even worse.
Right. You see first downs, everything in Whitewater's favor. The Crusaders did have more passing yards because they didn't throw the ball that much. Right.
Now, their game is control on the ground and throw the bootleg pass. They're 6 for 14 passing, 113 yards, though, so if you look at their passing per completion, that's a pretty good ratio.
Pretty good, and only 5 penalties for your ball club, so that was a little glimmer of brightness on a gloomy day.
Well, we had some problems with penalties a year ago, and this year so far in the first 2 ball games we've been very, very good with penalties, so that is one thing that's a very good positive for us.
Around the conference, we will see that the Bulldogs, Butler, are having problems putting points on the board. And, Coach, it's been a situation where Butler traditionally has been able to score points with their offense, but unable to really get things going this year thus far.
Especially with Arnold Mickens. They scored 15 points last week, but they were all a block punt for a touchdown, and defense scored for them, so their offense has not scored in 2 weeks.
And what an impressive performance by Dayton, beating a team which blew out Butler a week ago. Is Dayton that much better than Butler, or is Dayton just unbeatable at home?
Dayton's a pretty good ball club. They're very well disciplined, very well coached. They've got, all their players are from Ohio. You know what kind of a high school recruiting ground Ohio is, and they're going to have good players on that football team. Okay,
a couple other scores to take a look at. Wisconsin lacrosse, it was actually a good day for the teams up in the Cheese State against the teams from the PFL.
Well, that conference in 2 weeks is 16-2 versus non-conference opponents, so they're doing very well.
And Evansville off to a rapid start. The competition will get stiffer this week, but for right now, the Purple Aces a perfect 3-0.
They're doing very, very well. They're playing their toughest opponent this week, and we'll see how good Evansville is after this week's game.
And the conference standings show how well Evansville is doing. Here's a program which struggled a year ago, but right now, a perfect 3-0. And Dayton, at least at this point, Coach, appears to be a notch ahead of everybody, I would think.
And they're the front runner for the conference title right now. We played in the last conference game of the year, so we're hoping at that point in time that game means something for us.
Okay, one of the guys who has really been playing well late, at least he really showed up to play on Saturday, was Tim Riesen. We saw in the highlights that Tim seemed to be all over the field, and Tim, welcome. It was one of those days where nothing seemed to be going right, but you were able to make some nice contributions, I guess.
Yeah, it was a very frustrating day. I think both sides of the ball. Collectively, we played pretty poorly, I think. as far as the success that I may have had on defense, a lot of the credit has to go to the defensive line. The Matt Murphys, Eric Miller, Adam Zolvinsky, Matt Culp, John Harrington, those guys canceling their gaps make my job that much easier.
Tim, you're starting to feel more comfortable at linebacker. You switched positions a little bit in the last couple of years, played more defensive back, a lot of special teams actually last year, and now you found a starting role as an inside linebacker. How's it feeling for you? More comfortable now?
Yeah, I feel like I really started to find my niche anyway. When I came out of high school, I was a quarterback, and I don't know that I could play at this level as a quarterback, and I don't know that I'm quick enough to play defensive back. Linebacker seemed like a good position for me, and I guess I'm starting to get the hang of it.
Coach, recruiting Tim out of high school, what were you looking at him as playing? Did you have an idea at that point in time?
Well, there's a couple things when you look at quarterbacks. Ozzy's a former quarterback, Andre Murphy's a former quarterback. Quarterbacks usually are pretty good athletes, can play a lot of places for you. We looked at Timmy because their high school runs the exact same style of offense we run. As far as an option quarterback and a running quarterback, Timmy could play at this level. As far as the throwing game that we also want to put in place in the game, that was probably his weakness in regards to his abilities.
Okay. Tim, you feel like linebacker maybe over inside? You want to be inside because you got to put on a little more weight. I know you put on some weight in the off season. Were you prepared to play the inside linebacker?
Most definitely. Yeah. I knew coming into the season that position would be open, and that would be my best opportunity to get some playing time. So I set as one of my goals to do what I had to do to get that position.
Tim, inside blitz there on the quarterback, what did you see there? Do you remember the play?
Honestly, I don't remember too much of the play other than the final result, I guess.
This is actually 3 successive plays. Now they run the draw on 2nd and long, and there you are in the middle of the screen.
This was a play that we'd seen in practice quite a bit. The scout team did a real good job showing us that play in practice, and it was a pretty easy read.
Okay, and then on the very next play, they run that stretch play, which they ran so successful, but not this time. What happens?
It's just a matter of getting outside the tight end here. You can see him, the fullback as well, trying to get out and hook people. It's just a matter of trying to get outside there. That's the style of our defense, is to flow, to pursue. I'm considered a spill guy on that play, in that other people bounce it out, and I'm supposed to make the tackle.
Why so much problems with that play on Saturday?
A lot of it, the look. I mean, they're bigger guys. The zone blocking is something that we hadn't seen before. That was something that we had to adapt to, and we weren't very successful.
Any sort of lesson learned from Saturday at all? What do you get out of Saturday's defeat?
Well, we were certainly humbled, I think. Whitewater is consistent with the caliber of play that we're going to see in our conference. I think this is an eye-opener for us, what we've got ahead of us, and I think guys will definitely try and prepare themselves better each week.
Coach, Whitewater doesn't turn the ball over, runs the ball well. They're actually similar to a lot of teams you see in the conference. Dayton, Drake, Butler even. How much of a concern now?
Well, the biggest concern I think I have is we have the talent to play with anybody on our schedule. I know that, and our players know that, and our coaches know that. It's a matter of everybody doing their job and getting their job done first. There's 2 steps we have to take: is everybody get responsible for what they're supposed to be doing and not trying to help somebody else out or change the course of what they're doing. And secondly, then come together better as a team and gel together better as a team.
Okay. We're going to take a look at what's coming up on Saturday. Kalamazoo College, the opponent. You played them at Brown Field last year. Now you got to go up there to Kalamazoo. What sort of problems will they possess?
Well, last year we beat them 45-10, and I think it was kind of like our game last weekend. The snowball started rolling against them last year, and it didn't stop until we were up 45-3. So if you're in coaching long enough or playing the game long enough, you're on both ends of that. And we were last year, and again this year on the wrong end, of course, last Saturday. So they have 16 starters back and 2 pretty fast wide receivers, a couple good running backs. Their quarterback is 6'6". He's a junior now. He's been a 3-year starter. They throw the ball real well. Number 2 especially, their wide receiver, their flanker, is a very, very good receiver. Got good hands and good speed, and they present some problems for us offensively.
Concerned about slow starts 2 weeks in a row now. Is anything you try to do differently in pregame?
No, I don't. Maybe this week, yes. I think the first few weeks, etc. We've had what I thought was a veteran ball club and a lot of mature players, and that came in and worked very hard for the season. And usually, there's not a whole lot you have to do in regards to a pregame type situation. But I think we're going to change that a little bit this week.
Okay, a good opponent for you to get to hopefully get back in the win column. Kalamazoo College, the opponent. Around the conference, we see another team from Wisconsin visits Indiana. It's Stevens Point at Butler.
Stevens Point last year had 2 6'7" offensive tackles. I don't know if any graduated or not because I remember seeing this game on tape, but they were huge offensive line-wise. They'll present some problems for Butler.
Good matchup. Platteville's unbeaten. Dayton is as well. That's a nice long ride for Dayton all the way up to the Iowa border, I guess.
Up to the Bears camp.
Yeah. Good matchup there, and a couple other games around the conference. As we saw there, Evansville against Thomas More. Can Evansville keep it going? That's their toughest test, right?
That'll be the toughest test, and then when they start the conference schedule the week after, yes.
Okay. Biggest key to the game on Saturday?
A bar game, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Just come out and ready to play at the beginning. We got to stay positive. A lot of good things can happen with this team. There's a lot of good players, a lot of good kids in this program, and we just got to stay positive and build upon each other and just do our jobs and get the job done, and we'll be fine.
Okay, Drake figures to get a victory over Aurora. I don't think that's a bold prediction, but we'll see. We'll come back. We'll have all the scores for you. Of course, we'll have highlights, and we will get you set to go for next week's ball game as well. We'll see you same time next week. We thank Tim Riesen and Tom Horne. So long, everybody, on Valparaiso University football.